One of the deadliest and most devastating wars of Africa has been that of Sudan. For the first half of the 20th century, Sudan was a joint protectorate of Egypt and the United Kingdom, known as the Anglo-Egyptian Condominium. Egypt and the United Kingdom signed a treaty relinquishing sovereignty to the independent Republic of Sudan in 1956. The stark internal divide between the country's wealthier northern region, which was majority Arab and Muslim, and its less developed southern region, which was majority Christian or animist, sparked two civil wars in Sudan before the country split into two states in 2011. The First Sudanese Civil War, also known as the Anyanya Rebellion or Anyanya I, after the name of the rebels, a term in the Madi language which means snake venom, was fought from 1955 to 1972 between the northern part of Sudan and the southern Sudan region, which demanded representation and more regional autonomy. The Second Sudanese Civil War from 1983 to 2005 killed an estimated 2 million people, with widespread documentation of famine and atrocities. In July 2011, Sudan's southern territory seceded and formed a new state, the Republic of South Sudan. And as from April 2023, Sudan sunk into its third civil war, an ongoing conflict that has seen Sudan sink into darkness of horror and misery. In this documentary, we shall explore Sudan's third civil war, getting insights into the real situation in Sudan and how this war has been propelled. Let's start by understanding who is involved in the war. The war involves two major warring camps that the Sudanese Armed Forces, the SAF, the country's de facto government, and a paramilitary group by the name Rapid Support Forces, RSF, the rebel group. The Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, is the nation's official military which was responsible for the security, defense and protection of the country before the civil war. By April 2023, its personnel was estimated at 200,000 officers. The RSF, on the other hand, is the most powerful paramilitary group that emerged from President Omar al-Bashir era. The RSF evolved from the Janjaweed militia, an Arab-majority armed group funded by Bashir to suppress southern Sudanese rebels and fight in the Darfur War. The group committed brutal attacks and crimes across the Darfur region, including mass displacement, sexual violence, and kidnapping. The first 2 years of the conflict in Darfur claimed over 200,000 lives, with over 100,000 more since 2005. After the Janjaweed militia rebranded to RSF paramilitary, Omar Bashir made it his personal security. The RSF paramilitary, which is under the leadership of Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, commonly known as Hemeti, was estimated at about 100,000 soldiers as of April 2023. A number that is slightly half the number of SAF. It's important to note that Burhan and Hemeti once worked together. Shortly after the coup of 2019, Burhan was appointed head of Sovereign Council while Hemeti was appointed his deputy. When Burhan started plans to integrate the RSF into the Sudanese army, Hemeti didn't find it favorable for him because he felt his influence could be swept away. Shortly after, a fierce difference occurred between the two of them, which later led to an escalation of the war in 2023. During his tenure as head of Janjaweed, Hemeti was seen as a brutal and ruthless who suppressed his fellow officers. After the escalation of the war in 2023, several other armed groups joined the war supporting either the RSF or the SAF. The Sudan People's Liberation Movement North supports RSF, while the Justice and Equality Movement, JEM, which is under the leadership of Jibril Ibrahim, support SAF. Initially, the JEM was neutral to the war, but after several accusations of the atrocities caused by RSF, particularly the Darfur region, JEM changed its initial stance on neutrality and instead joined the war from the SAF side. JEM believes strongly that if RSF wins, Sudan will divide, and they have used their influence to counter the RSF advances. More than 10 countries in Africa, Middle East, and Asia have taken part in the Sudan crisis, making it one with many proxies in the region. These countries include Egypt, United Arab Emirates, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Qatar, Algeria, Libya, Turkey, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Russia, China, Chad and South Sudan. According to Amnesty International, weapons used in the Sudan war have mainly originated from China, Russia, Turkey and the United Arab Emirates, UAE. SAF, which is the de facto government of Sudan, has accused UAE of supporting RSF so that RSF can enable the UAE to smuggle out gold from Sudan. In 2023 alone, UAE purchased almost all of Sudan's gold. UAE gives both military and economic support to RSF. As a result, USA, under the presidency of Joe Biden, sanctioned UAE-based companies supporting Houthi in January 2025. Saudi Arabia is another key player of this war. Saudi sees Sudan as an ally to counter Iran's regional influence. As October 2025, Saudi Arabia had invested about $85 billion in the war supporting the government side led by SAF. Iran and Russia also support the Sudanese government. Russia has provided Sudan government with diplomatic and military support, whereas Iran, which renewed diplomatic ties with Sudan in 2023, has provided SAF with attack drones. Egypt on her side supports Burhan, head of SAF, because of Egypt and Burhan's shared interests in a dispute with Ethiopia over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Egypt has supplied SAF with warplanes and pilots. In retaliation, Ethiopia is supporting the RSF. Ethiopian support actually is interesting one. Earlier on, when Ethiopia was on war with the Tigray People's Liberation Front, the TPLF, RSF supported Ethiopia. Now as Ethiopia support RSF in Sudan war, TPLF is supporting the government of Sudan, SAF. Chad, which shares more than 20 ethnic groups with Sudan, supports the RSF to the west by facilitating weapons from the UAE using its eastern airports in Abesh and Jaraz. Chad and UAE have denied these accusations, but media reports and the UN have confirmed weapons come from the UAE to RSF. UAE also built a hospital in Abesh of Chad for free medical services to Sudanese refugees. There are claims that these facilities are for military activities and smuggling weapons. Libya also plays a key role in this war. It has been accused of supporting RSF. Libya denies the claims by UN, confirms it. Turkey on her side has provided SAF with attack drones. In Eastern Africa, Kenya and Uganda are perceived to support RSF. President Ruto of Kenya particularly hosted Houthi, head RSF in Nairobi, Kenya. On the control of Sudan, the sides seem to divide the country into equal measure. However, as of December 2025, the SAF controls a little more than half of the country. SAF has a stronghold in the capital, Khartoum. In the east, they controls the city of Port Sudan. SAF also controls approximately 3/4 of the Sudanese border with Egypt to the north. RSF has control over Darfur, rich in gold. They also control El Fasher, a hub connecting routes to Libya to the north, the Nile to the east and Chad to the west. Also, they control most of the country's oil fields and gold fields in central and southwest Sudan. Thanks for watching. We shall continue to bring you more updates. Please subscribe to our channel for more updates in the future.